Welcome to the Tulane Future of Energy Forum. Please be seated. The session will begin momentarily. A reminder that Tulane University promotes and protects the free exchange of ideas. Freedom of expression includes the ability to engage or not to engage in the exchange, examination, and discussion of ideas. It does not include the right to disrupt the freedom of others. Therefore, we prohibit the physical or virtual disruption, shouting down, blocking, or suppressing of a protest, a demonstration, program, or an invited speaker's right to speak. Please note that disruptions of this nature may result in the removal from the event.
Good morning. Welcome to Tulane University. It is my pleasure to introduce our next session titled Cooler Choices, Why Consumers and Brands Are Aligning on Clean Energy. If time allows at the end of the session, the panel will take questions submitted by the audience. To submit a question, please scan the QR code located on the screens. Please be sure to silence your cell phones, enjoy the conversation, and please join me in giving a very warm welcome to this morning's moderator, Fariba Mamaghani. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Future Energy Forum. My name is Fariba. I'm Assistant Professor of Management Science at A.B. Freeman Business School. Today, I'm honored to just moderate this discussion with great panelists, August, Jessica, and Anna. And today we will talk about the brand and the consumers, and we want to see that why consumers and the brands, they are aligning on clean energy. Right now, the clean energy is no longer the environmental luxury aspiration. It's just becoming the core part of the decision that our consumers, they are choosing the brand they trust, and also it's becoming one of the core part of the decision that the companies, they're investing when they are making the decision about their strategy. Today we have a great panelist, and they are expert in this area. And to start, I want to ask each of them to briefly introduce themselves, and just they can talk about their role in the clean energy. Maybe we can start with August.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is August Martin. I am a native New Orleanian and two-time Tulane University graduate, so I am very excited to be here. I have been working in the sustainability consulting space for the last 20 years for private consulting firms, and just a few months ago, I formed my own venture called Treme Impact, which is a nod to the community I grew up in here in New Orleans, and it's focused on decarbonization, sustainability consulting, and social impact.
Next person.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Appelgren. I'm the SVP of Marketing and Communications at Palmetto. And Palmetto is a marketplace for clean energy for consumers. Started about 15 years ago as a solar company and evolved to provide solar financing options for consumers to get more people into clean energy. And now we're a full marketplace for whole home electrification and solar, and really trying to build out our direct-to-consumer kind of engagement. But my career, my work, it's focused at the intersection of technology, consumer behavior, and climate. And before Palmetto, I was at the Moonshot Factory arm of Google, where I got a chance to get under the hood on all the projects they're doing there around like how AI is actually an aid for climate solutions. And before that, 7 years working to build awareness for under-recognized climate technology, which is food, and namely a plant-based burger called the Impossible Burger. So burgers to moonshots to solar. It's been my journey.
Jessica.
Well, I'm Anna Robertson.
Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you to Tulane for having me and having the cool down. Everybody's been so nice here. So you guys have such an incredible school. And I'm the co-founder of the Cool Down. For anybody who's not familiar with the Cool Down, we are the largest lifestyle solutions platform focused on helping people to make better choices for themselves and the planet. My background's in the media space. I spent 20 plus years at ABC News and Yahoo, and got really passionate about climate and the fact that a lot of people are just overwhelmed by climate and sustainability topics. Most of the climate content has been really focused on doom and gloom, pretty boring in a lot of ways. And so I partnered up with the team who started Bleacher Report, the sports site, to create the Cool Down about 3.5 years ago and see if we could drive mainstream awareness of climate topics at scale. And so we reach about 35 million people a month. We're distributed pretty much anywhere you can get your news, on Yahoo, MSN, Apple News, et cetera. We've got 5 newsletters that we put out every week, so highly recommend checking us out and signing up. And as part of that process, as it relates to clean energy, we have really become the largest marketplace for the clean economy. So we try to connect those people who are coming in with interest about renovating their home or thrifting or recycling or whatever it might be, and connect them with trusted solutions like Palmetto and others that can help them to make better choices. And so we have sent hundreds of thousands of people to heat pumps and solar panels and heat pump water heaters and all different kinds of sustainable products and services.
Thank you for introducing yourself. Let me just start our conversation with my first question. And I'm just trying to ask my first question from Anna. From your perspective, what is the main motivator for consumers that they want to move toward the clean energy? Is the climate concern, or the affordability, or the brand reputations? There are many reasons that the people, they want to just switch and align themselves. But what is the strongest one?
Yeah, I mean, the strongest one is cost. But, I think by and large, everybody says they want to save the planet, but when it comes down to it, they're really only going to do things if it works for themselves and their families. People are pretty self-motivated. And that's not a bad thing. We just need to play to that. I think for too long, the climate space and sustainability space has asked people to make choices because it's better for the planet. And now we have a great value proposition for clean energy because it's cheaper, it works better, it's healthier for your family, it can help you to be more resilient, obviously, as we've been talking about, which is why so many consumers are now taking matters into their own hands and bringing these products and services into their own homes. So for us, it's really the cost savings aspect is a huge one. I think the health aspect is another really big one. And there are a certain number of people that will make those choices because they care about the planet and they want to do the right thing. But there really doesn't need to be any sacrifice at this point to make these kinds of choices.
It seems that from your perspective, the money and the affordability and the cost saving is the main thing for everyone. But that's, I think, true, because everyone, when they see that they can save some money or they can do better, they will take some action, because I think it's one of the big drivers for any decision we are making in our life.
Especially when you see that energy prices or, electricity prices are up 7% over the last year. So that's real money for people.
Yeah, exactly. I want to just talk about that, because right now with the data center, AI, electricity prices just booming everywhere, going up. And the people, they are thinking, and the electricity consumption also is going up. We are using more and more, and we are, because of that, everyone, they're thinking how they can save, how they can just protect themselves from this, everything that's happening in the market. Let me ask the same question from Jessica. How do you think about this?
Could not agree more. It's cost. I think 31% of Americans are struggling to pay their electricity bills this year, up from like 25% a year ago. And I think energy costs are supposed to rise 15 to 40% by 2030. I mean, it's a huge bite out of your family budget. So I think cost is the absolute biggest driver. I think it's also, to Anna's point, I think the resilience piece, people are more and more aware. I mean, we're here in New Orleans where resilience is on, everyone's minds, but across the country, more and more people are really trying to think ahead, and plan for outages. Like, it is so common now that I think it's not a, it's become top of the stack of concerns. And then I think there's this independence piece, that the idea that you now can, create and store and use your own energy when you want, and that just sort of ability to sort of future-proof your home and your family. Like I think that's resonating with consumers as well. But at the end of the day, it's if it weren't cost-effective to do this, it wouldn't be happening.
That's great. August, you live in Texas, and
Yes.
I know I lived in Texas for 6 years. The electricity price was cheaper in Texas compared to the other places, at least as far as I know, based on my research. But do you have the same thoughts and feelings that the cost is the main drivers?
Yeah, I think affordability is one of the main drivers, but also what we're seeing in terms of extreme weather events is also driving this. I lived through Winter Storm Uri in 2021, where we had this horrible ice storm and did not have power and water and in some places gas for a week. We have a very unique energy grid in Texas. So it was just troubling that I live in a very vibrant and robust and fairly, the economies of scale vary, but most of the people there can participate in this clean energy transition. But that storm really level set a lot of people. And when you have events like that, and you have events like wildfires in California, you have consumers that are standing up and saying, "Wait a minute, what's going on here? How can I be more engaged in my public utility commission to figure out what other options are?" And luckily, where I live, I can change my energy provider whenever I want to take advantage of the varying costs. But there's a lot of folks who can't do that. So I think affordability and then living through this current climate crisis that we're in, that's really what's driving why consumers are jumping on the bandwagon to really have more agency in terms of how they're participating in this clean energy economy. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned a great point that having the option to choose the company you want, it's a great option. Because when I was living in Dallas, there is a power to choose website, and you can go there. There are a bunch of utility companies, different plans, fixed, variable. You can choose what is the best based on your consumption pattern. But unfortunately, most of the states and the cities we live, we have just one choice, and we have to go with that one. That's great, actually. All of the point that you made, it was fantastic. I have a follow-up question regarding my previous question. Do you notice any geographical difference between how the consumers switching and aligning with clean energy? Because for sure, we know that maybe the California was a leader in this area because electricity price, I think one reason it was affordability. Electricity was very expensive there, and it was one of the reasons that most of the people, they start to just having solar panel in their house. The weather, it was suitable for that one. But except that, do you see any geographical difference how the consumers, I'm trying to ask the same question again with the same order from the Jessica first. Sorry, from Anna. I don't know why I'm today mixing the name. Do you see any difference?
I mean, there are definitely states where, where solar is going to work better, right? And it's going to be more efficient for people's money. And so those states, you definitely see higher adoption, as well as places where there have been really good incentives to encourage people to go solar. So I think you see that. But I think people would be surprised, and Jessica and I were talking about this last night, about the kind of people that are getting clean energy. Because a lot of people think this is just for wealthy people, or that this is just happening in Democratic states or liberal states, and it's actually quite the opposite. There are a lot of people who are adopting solar, especially with new financing models where, in the case of Palmetto, you can actually lease your solar or your heat pump and with a guarantee that it's going to be less than your utility bill. I mean, that is an incredible offer for people. So I think, you are seeing a lot more uptick in red states, and you're seeing a lot more uptick at all levels of income. So I don't know if you want to add to that, but
I was floored. I mean, I've been at Palmetto about a year, and I made assumptions around who our customers were coming in. Absolutely wrong. Majority or greater amount of our customers live in red states. Like older homeowners, like on fixed incomes, that really see this as a way to cut down their household budget. I just, it wasn't what I expected, and that was really exciting for me. It's like solar's gotten this like reputation, as being for a certain type of person or orientation, and like that's absolutely not what we see.
If I understand correctly, you mean that there is no high correlation between the wealthy people and adopting the solar?
Wealthy or like urban, or coastal, none of that. Like that's not what we see at Palmetto with our customers. And we do offer a very turnkey, affordable like lease model, that saves you up to 15% off your energy bill, day one. So it's attractive to a wide variety of consumers, but yeah, what we see is not. I'm from California, and everyone on my block has solar, so I think I did make some assumptions coming in, and it's just not the case.
Yeah, but I think you mentioned a great point, is financial opportunity, and the leasing is just opening the door for different group of customers. It make it available for most of the people, maybe. This is the one option that maybe we see that, as you mentioned, different group of people, they're trying to just move toward the clean energy, which is a good news for us. And how about you, August? What do you think about that?
I think there is some variance in terms of geography. Just going back to Texas again, wind and solar are flourishing in Central Texas and in North Texas. But that's the availability of those technologies are very different in the city of New Orleans, for example. So, and there's also still too much of a gap in awareness, I think, for the programs that, Anna and Jessica are talking about, with rebates and leasing options available. So I think there is a variety of different options that will allow many low-income folks to come into this clean energy transition, but they just don't know about them. So I think there's an opportunity to increase awareness so that we can bring more people into this mix.
Great. Let's look at this thing from company perspective. And I'm asking this question first from Jessica. How do you think the companies are responding to this shift towards a clean energy? Can you just share a good example or successful example, and how the brands and the companies are aligning this strategy and moving toward that clean energy?
Yeah, I mean, across the board, I think it's interesting to see how companies are responding. I mean, like a Google who's made, huge commitments to renewable energy and continues to, accelerate adoption at a huge pace. I mean, why are they doing it? It's, a number of reasons, but one is the sheer necessity around like balancing, the AI like data center like energy use that they are participating in, that's coming, and then it's companies like Walmart that have made huge renewable energy commitments, and we actually work with to kind of extend renewable energy onboarding to their customers and consumers. I think for us, for Palmetto, what we're really focused on right now is like, how do we, to August's point, like how do we grow awareness of these options and make it really easy and turnkey for consumers? So we are going to announce soon, well, early preview, a consumer app at New York Climate Week that makes managing and understanding your home energy really simple and fun and engaging and rewarding, whether you have solar or not. And I think it's tools like that that companies need to bring forward to kind of eliminate some of the barriers to adoption, that are just, it's complex, it really is. So I think that's what, I think that's what we can do at Palmetto to make this easier, for more people to get on board.
Interesting. We are waiting for your announcement.
Yes, little scoop.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask a question from August. You're working with a small businesses organization, and from your point of view, what is the most maybe helpful perspective to building and shifting this building this trust between the companies and the customers and helping them?
So I think there's a couple of things. Several years ago, sustainability and talk about climate change advocacy was the hot term and the hot topic of the moment. That has shifted to still being prevalent sort of in the ethos of this clean energy transition. But now it's shifted to security and resilience. And what I see from a company perspective is that consumers are gravitating toward companies and entities that they feel that are actively participating in this clean energy transition. So we all heard about Apple with their big announcements of their products this week. But behind all of that is their investment in renewable energy and programs like the Power for Impact programs, and them enabling a lot of small and medium enterprises to adopt clean energy principles and to really purchase and to participate in battery management programs and to adopt a lot of technologies that aren't just common right now in the clean energy mix. And there's also a driver for, in the culture right now, the entertainment industry is making a lot of strides in the clean energy space. So Spotify, for example, is adopting a lot of renewable energy practices and powering a lot of their operations by renewable energy technologies, and also amplifying a lot of artists that are participating in the clean energy transition. So I think I see it being a lot easier for consumers to get on board with some of their brands that they prefer, and to make better choices and more informed choices based on what larger and smaller companies are doing in the space.
Great, thank you for great response. And let me ask a question from Anna. And how do you measure the success and impacts of the brands when they are transitioning to the clean energy? What are the measurements, or how you are saying that this brand is doing great, or?
Well, I mean, most brands have, defined targets that they're working towards. So they have to report out, whether that's the science-based targets or, whatever they've put out publicly. And I think some of them are being held to account for those. So certainly, kind of keeping, it's relatively easy to see how they're tracking. And I mean, that's the work that August is doing, certainly. But yeah, just being aware of what they're doing is they have to report out on those metrics.
But you talk about the affordability. Maybe one measurement could be that how much the customers they are saving by moving toward the clean energy. Yes, it should be
Right.
One of the, I think if this is the main motivator, it should be one of the main criteria to measure the impact of the trust of the brand and switch to the clean energy.
Right, and how many, from like a consumer perspective, it's like how many customers can they get to sign up for for their product or service, right? Because there are a lot of options out there in this space. So, I mean, certainly for us, like we're measuring our impact on, the number of people we reach. So as I said, we reach like 35 million people a month, which is about 1 in 8 Americans. But also part of our measurement is how many people of those are getting activated or taking some kind of action, which is why we built a huge guide around the work that we do to try to help people take that next step from just reading an article or engaging in content and then actually signing up to get more information about solar or heat pumps or recycling their old stuff or buying a non-toxic product or whatever it might be. So
Can I just say 1 in 8 Americans are like opting in to receive climate sustainability content and information. I mean, I'm amazed. I never thought I would see the day, right, where this content is been made so attractive, that the adoption is in 1 in 8 Americans. I feel like that's a fact to celebrate.
thank you. Yeah. I mean, we're like among the top news publishers in the nation, and we're a climate brand. I mean, we don't really call ourselves a climate brand necessarily because we really don't even want to, lead with that. We don't need to lead with that anymore. And the same thing for companies. Like they don't have to lead with, they're making these decisions because they're good business decisions. They're not making them because they need to check a box or because it's the right thing to do. Although obviously that's a piece of it. But good. Like being sustainable is good business strategy. It can save companies money. It's where their future customers are heading. They see these trends happening, and so I think that for too long we've put these sort of brands on things that require them to seem like they're doing it just because it's the right thing to do. But at this point now, companies are committed to these strategies because they work and they make the money.
That's great.
Yeah, and it also, just to piggyback on that, comes down to trustworthiness, and having that level of transparency builds that trust. So I'm also happy that so many folks are just participating in getting all of this information and they're paying attention to what's happening, and it also speaks to the greenwashing and the green hushing movement that we have going on now, and consumers are really dialed in to what's going on.
That's great. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about the barriers and some challenge that the customers or the small business they face when they want to transition to the clean energy, and then how the policymaker or the companies they can be helpful, and then what is the biggest challenge? If we have many people here, and maybe some of them similar to me, they don't have the solar panel, or some businesses they want to move toward the clean energy, but what do you see? What is the biggest challenge for them? Maybe we can.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge is that it's just too hard to adopt these products and services, and awareness is a big piece of that. But also, when you start to look into it, like say you want to get solar panels or heat pumps or a heat pump water heater, I mean, a lot of these are really, just starting to break into mainstream adoption as opposed to early adopter. And so, you got to call a bunch of contractors, and you got to figure out, like, well, why does this person want to sell me this size solar panel array and this person wants to sell me that, and which one should I go with? And so there's a lot of sort of research and detail that has to go into it. So it's really incumbent on brands and obviously people like us to make it really turnkey, as Jessica said, to make it really simple, and to hold people's hand through the process a little bit. Obviously we have much more complex permitting issues in the United States. I think somebody was talking yesterday about Australia and why the cost of solar is about half of what it is here, and you can get a permit in a day and get up and running and get the panels on your roof and all good. Here it's much lengthier process, and that can be daunting for people. So I think that the more that we see more innovation in the not just the technology but the customer experience to make it really, really easy for them to make these choices. And to build trust, as August was just saying, a lot of this is about trust. Like, who are you going to trust to put the solar panels on your roof? The solar industry has had a really big PR problem with a lot of bad actors in this space, and so a lot of those folks, fortunately, have been weeding out of the industry. But it takes a while to build trust and figure out, who to go with. So I think that's going to be just a huge piece, and it's super exciting. I mean, it's so exciting that there are startups coming onto the scene, whether that's Palmetto, who's been around for a long time, but, has a new approach, or Pila Energy, who we heard about yesterday. But, it's like building trust in a startup that organization is going to be there to support your needs as you get something installed in your home.
Great. And Jessica?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I agree. I think it's, over the last few years, you just saw a lot of predatory practices in solar. You saw, people call them door knockers come in and selling you something and being really insistent I think that it just eroded a sense of, first of all, the complexities there, and then you've got this kind of fear component, that you don't trust these companies. There's been, when I started at Palmetto, people talked about the solar coaster. It's true, it's been a hard road, for solar to build to the point that it is now in this country with setbacks and headwinds and tailwinds, and I think with that has come just a lack of sense of stability that I can go with this company and they're going to be around, in 20 years for this lease. So we're thinking a lot about that. What are the tactics that we can deploy to really, be as transparent as possible and to correct for the mistakes of the past. I think that's really top of mind.
And that's why I think it's really incumbent upon companies to deliver, right? And to show okay, it's going to be easy. We're going to save you money. I mean, you almost have to go overboard on, customer service. I was just interviewing somebody who's got a really cool smart electric heater product. And he said, we're responding to customer service within 30 seconds because we know that, we're up against the big players in the space and we're new. And so we need to be there and show that we're there. So it's almost like you have to kind of go above and beyond to make sure people have a seamless experience. And those that have made it really easy, I think, are seeing success. The whole Tesla system is so easy because, if you have a Tesla car, if you get the Tesla solar, if you have the Tesla battery, you've got the app, you can kind of keep, monitor everything in one place. You can see your energy. It starts to become very empowering for the consumer. But that takes years, right, to build those kind of relationships.
That's great. I guess Anna and Jessica, they talked about the biggest challenge, and then I want to ask you a different question. You cannot follow their answer. From inside, what do you see is the invisible challenge that maybe from the public, when I look at, I don't see, other people, they don't see, but when you're working with the businesses, you can see. What is the invisible challenge in this area?
So I think an unintended consequence of participating in the clean energy transition are those folks out there and parts of the population that are inherently left out of consideration. So that starts with renters. So we talk a lot about homeowners and folks that have the opportunity to either buy or lease solar panels. That's not always available to renters. There's still the conversation about low-income communities and rural communities as well. So I think there needs to be more thought and more activity around being more inclusive of that side of the population that's not included into the clean energy transition as readily as they would like to be. Also, there's some structural challenges right now. Energy Star is under attack, and we think about solar panels and wind, but when it comes down to something simple as buying energy efficient appliances, that's something that's uncertain right now where that part of the space is moving to. And then other changes to regulations like the Inflation Reduction Act that's really meant to activate and empower a lot of this renewable technology, that is under attack as well, which has a trickle-down effect to localities. And I don't think we've fully seen the impacts of that yet, but I think that's coming. So those are a couple of the barriers that we're in the middle of, but we don't really know what the impact will be yet.
Thank you. Interesting.
Yeah.
Knowing about the invisible challenges is very important as well. This is my last question. When I'm looking at audience, I see my great students. They are here. They are ambitious. They are sharp. And I know most of them, they want to work in the intersection of energy markets, sustainability, and consumer side. What is skills, experience they need to just invest for upcoming years to be successful in this area? Because I know you're working with young professional, and then just let me know, start with.
You want to start? 'Cause
Oh, sure, yeah.
I know you've been mentoring people all week, so you probably got your...
So there's a variety of different things. So there's, what I talk to students about is focusing in on your specific study area, but also not ignoring the transferable skills that you have. So being able to collaborate, being able to work within team environments, I think is critical, and being able to be realistic but also optimistic at the same time. Because I think in the energy space, there's room for just about any background that you can think of. It's not just engineering, it's not just science. We need finance people, we need accountants, we need artists, we need folks that will help to push the envelope in nature-based solutions. So there is a scientific and engineering component to it, but I think really thinking about those transferable skills and the softer people skills, because those are going to be needed to really move the needle in the space.
I'm biased, but I think storytelling is a really under-leveraged tool in energy and climate. You know, I think really figuring out how to make this human, which both of you do so well, like, you know, to inspire and draw in instead of, you know, present energy as this kind of, you know, pure engineering, you know, like space. I think it's those human stories. It's the, you know, the ability to make the transition feel like a realistic and joyous, you know, experience. I think that's the opportunity for you all to take on.
Yeah,
and
and
there's
go
huge
ahead.
space there.
Yeah, I mean, I would add to that. I mean, I think obviously there's a place for everyone in this space. Like I was a journalist my entire career, and I just got really passionate. And I was like, what can I do with my time and talents to contribute? Because I know I want to leave the world a better place. And I think just getting curious and then finding places to plug in. Like for me, you know, I didn't know I didn't know much about the climate space, but I tried to just meet with people who were experts in the field, or I joined, you know, the My Climate Journey Slack channel. I listened to a ton of podcasts. I kind of, you know, find where you can, you know, learn more and just get curious and reach out to people. And I mean, I think everybody's receptive to curiosity. So that's my advice.
I think, the curiosity is one of the important things when you are trying to find a new path, because you're trying to open different doors for yourself, and you are not just trying to limit yourself for a box, and then you are just saying that I should just look at a different box. I have a similar experience in my PhD program. When I joined UT Dallas to get my PhD in operation management, first I wanted to work on healthcare because it was very public, and it was very famous topic at those days actually. It was and everyone, they were working on healthcare, all of my friends and then peers. But then it was one day I was reading a news. It was from, I think, California, talking about that how the consumers, they are complaining when their neighbors are installing solar, the electricity price going up for them. And it was talking about the fairness. And then I just got some idea about that. Oh, this is the place that I have some idea. I can talk about the price mechanism, I can do some work, and then I just knocked the door of my PhD advisor and I said that I was reading the news and I want to work on this energy question, actually. And then it was the beginning for me, but then the more and more I start listening to podcasts, reading the news, I found that there are many great research questions in the energy market that need someone to just think about it, mathematically solve it, or there are many data in the energy market and needs to just look at it, find the insight, and work on it. Because we had many people for many years, they work on the healthcare, but in energy market, right now is getting more attention. Specifically, I think right now, because of this AI and data centers, the energy market is getting more attention right now because we need the energy to use AI. And then I think energy market would be one of the dominant industry in our field, in our country, and is a great door and opportunity for our young professional to just invest in this area. We have 5 minutes. I think we can open the door for questions.
First question, with solar leasing models, what improvements have been made for ownership transfer when property ownership changes?
Wait, and where is that question coming from?
She just read it.
Can you repeat the question?
From the voice of God.
I said, where was that? I'm sorry, so what improvements have been made in?
So with solar leasing models, what improvements have been made for ownership transfer when property ownership changes?
What improvements have been made? I mean, I think it's kind of a myth that it makes the property transfer difficult. We have not found that. It seems very turnkey. Like in the process of selling your house, you can buy out the solar at that point and go that route, or turn over your lease to the next homeowner. We were talking about this last night. Like, I would be very happy to buy a house with a lease for solar that ensures a lower energy bill than without it. Like, they've already gone through all of that work to make that transition. So I think that it's a bit of a overhyped myth that it impacts sort of home resale in that process.
I think we can answer maybe 1 or 2 more questions. We have 3 minutes.
To what extent have you personally electrified your lifestyle and powered it using renewables? What do you find most enjoyable about this change?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I'm like kind of in the process. We bought a home 5 years ago that was built in the 90s and decided to kind of retrofit it to be more climate friendly. So we did redo our roof. We got solar panels. We have an electric vehicle. We redid our electrical panels so that we could support more electrification in our home. We replaced our windows to be double pane windows instead of single pane, added insulation, got a heat pump water heater. And this week I am actually getting heat pumps in my house. And I live in Utah, so it's a cold weather climate. And there's a lot of myths around heat pumps in cold weather climates, but our house is always cold or it's always warm. And so we want it to be more comfortable to live in. And by having mini split heat pumps throughout our house, our furnace is not working properly to get our air throughout our house. So I'm just giving that as an example of another value proposition around, like, we just want to be more comfortable. We work from home and we want to be more comfortable in our own home. So I've pretty much run the gamut. I think the most exciting thing, to answer your question, is really being able to kind of control and understand the energy you use and have more autonomy around that. I mean, when our neighbors lose power, we have power because we have a power wall and we're backing up our solar. Given the price of gas, we've saved a ton of money on just not having to fill up our car with gas. We can decide when we want to charge our car on the sun or not. Just being able to kind of control those energy decisions. And I mean, our electric bill has been about $15 to $20 a month this summer. So that's just to give you a sense of like what our utility bill is right now. Obviously, it's a huge upfront cost, but we were able to take advantage of some of the tax credits and whatnot. So I could go on and on and on about this because like I really believe in living what I preach through the cool down and trying things out and making sure that these the solutions are attainable. Because like I felt like it was way too hard to make these decisions before. I don't know if you guys want to add anything, but
I mean, I have a 16-year-old, and he would never consider buying a gas car. Like it seems insane to him that you would do so when you can charge at home, for free. But I'm actually going to be the model of this whole journey myself and go through our programming to completely electrify our house. So I'm sort of waiting for our HVAC lease product that we're just putting out in the market now. But you can follow along on our social channels to see my home and how we electrify it. So I'm at the outset.
For me, it's been about smart appliances and integrating those into my home. And also, I replaced my AC units about a year ago, and I'm part of a clean energy program in Texas. So I can monitor through my smart thermostats when those units should be cycling on and off and how much energy I'm saving. So it's been really great to see real time how the system is doing and what tweaks I need to make. And it's been great for me and my teens as well to learn how we can change our behaviors to save energy at home. So that's what I'm excited about.
Can I make a recommendation? There's a new podcast out called Shocked. And it's by Amy Harder, who's like this amazing energy journalist. But the first episode is all about AC. And it is astronomical to learn how huge the rise in AC adoption is, across the world. Like it's shocking. You will be shocked. So check that out.
Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to just go and listen today. Maybe I can get an idea for my new paper. Thank you, Anna, Jessica, and August, for sharing your perspective. We learned a lot from you. Please joining me to thank Anna, August, Jessica, and then for sharing their insight. And thank you from our audience to being here. And we enjoyed, we learned, and hopefully we can have a successful panel in future.
thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this session. Our next session in this space will be Counting What Matters, Sustainability, Tax, and the Bottom Line, and that will start at 11:15. Thank you.